Is war with China inevitable regardless of who's in power in China? Why do the Chinese feel threatened when it comes to India? Look, war with China is not even inevitable. But if we are not careful, we could get embroiled in a war with China. Under what circumstances could we get embroiled in a war with China? If the Chinese don't respect us enough and are not scared of us enough, then we could get embroiled in a war with China. See, the one thing that we have that is on the same level as China is the nuclear option. Officially, if you look at official Western figures, the Chinese have about 600 warheads and we have about 172 or something warheads. So there's a discrepancy, but when it comes to nuclear weapons, even one is enough, right? But it is also true that no sane power, no rational power actually wants to use nuclear weapons. So if we take the nukes out of the picture, that there's a huge disparity in the hard power of China versus the hard power of India. The Chinese are about 3.5 times more powerful than India. India is small compared to China. China is 3.5 times bigger. If India is 10 feet tall, China is 35 feet tall. Do you get it? That's what I mean. That's by simply measuring hard power, raw hard power, economic and military power put together, essentially, plus other factors. So, as long as the Chinese feel that a war with India will end badly for them, as long as they feel that way, there won't be a war with India. But if they feel that India can be pushed over and it will be advantageous for the Chinese to go to war with India before India gets too big, then probably war is inevitable. So the way to ensure there is no war is to be forever prepared for war. The only way you can have peace is by always being ready for war. It's a paradoxical thing. So it means that India has to invest in its military. India has to keep investing more in its military budget. Maybe India needs to raise its military budget. Now that we are in a situation of war with Pakistan, and the Chinese may want to get involved, India should, I think, ramp up its military budget. See, in 2021, number one military budget was America. Number two was China. Number three was, who was it? Perhaps it was India. But today's India is number four. Why? Because Russia has shot up ahead of us. Russia's economy is way smaller than the Indian economy. But Russia's military budget is way ahead of us now because they are in a situation of war, the Ukraine war, which is a proxy war against NATO. So when you are in that situation, you have to invest more in your military. And you can do it without destroying your economy, because by investing in the military, you can actually set up more industries, more manufacturing industries, which will generate employment and much more for the country. So you can create a military economy that's good for the country and also ramps up the military strength of the country. So I think it may be time for India to start raising its military budget, right? Uh, it's something we should think about. The main thing is the Chinese will not go to war with India as long as they respect and fear us. Respect and fear are essentially two sides of the same coin. You don't respect someone you don't fear. Okay, mostly in the world of geopolitics and hard power, respect and fear are synonymous. So they have to be afraid of us to a certain extent. And they have to be afraid that if they go to war with India, they'll end up losing more than they will gain. Only in that case, in that scenario, will they choose not to go to war with India. But if you have this big nation of India, and if breaking it up into multiple pieces will be advantageous for the Chinese, they may seriously consider war with India. So war is not inevitable. War will not happen as long as we take the right precautions. We have to rise as a military power as well as an economic power. And we have to be smart in doing that. We have to especially see, we are a missile superpower. We have some of the best missiles in the world. But we also need to invest in the naval aspect of our military. We need to become a genuine maritime power. We need to be visible all across the Indian Ocean. It's called the Indian Ocean, but when you are there in the Indian Ocean, do you see an Indian presence there? The Indian presence should be constant. Wherever you go, you should come across Indian warships, right? Then you can say it's your strategic backyard. And to do that, you have to stop investing in these giant, obsolete monsters called aircraft carriers. You have to invest in scary stuff like submarines, which are invisible and deadly. You have to invest in cheap but dangerous things like missile boats. A missile boat, which is like, it costs $20 million, but it can destroy a warship with three Brahmos missiles or something. So you have to be smart in doing this. So India needs to take these measures, invest in the naval might, in its naval might, invest in submarines, invest in various kinds of missiles, not just 50 missiles or 100 missiles of one type, but thousands of missiles. We need to have a stockpile of thousands, maybe tens of thousands of missiles. Learn the lessons of the Ukraine war. Learn the lessons of the Iran Israel conflict. You need a stockpile of tens of thousands of missiles. A few hundreds will do nothing, and so on. So, as long as we do these things, the Chinese want to go to war with us. And then we can focus on growing our economy. That's what needs to happen.